Hey everybody, I'm out on my 2024 300 XCW, and I want to talk for just a second about how two-stroke motors run. Not like how they combust, like the strokes or anything, but what I want to talk about is a little bit about how they run. I get email from people quite often asking me if there's something wrong with their bike. A lot of these people are newer to two-strokes. The fuel-injected two-strokes from KTM, Husqvarna Gas TM, have brought them in to two-strokes, and they were worried about, they didn't get a two-stroke before because they were worried about carburation and jetting carbs and mixing gas and things like that. Well, like on a bike like this, I just pump gas in this thing and it's mixing the oil for me, so it makes it very, simple. But then these people have been on four-stroke motors that run really, really smooth, and they'll ask me, hey, there's something wrong with my bike because it has this kind of like sputtering thing it does at like constant throttle, constant RPM. And I'm like, hey, it's hard to diagnose if there's a problem over just words in an email. I'm like, but your bike might be running, especially if it's one of these newer TBI motors, it might be running exactly as expected. I gotta see if my camera just shut off. One sec. Okay, no, it looks like it didn't shut off. I heard a funny noise. Anyway, so the motor might be running exactly as expected. The thing is these bikes, like these two-stroke motors, is one of the reasons I don't love them for street legal purposes. A two-stroke motor does better under load, when there's load on the tire, not coasting, and it does better at variable throttles as it's climbing up through the RPM range and then dropping back down. Like variable RPMs, variable throttles, that's where these motors really shine. They don't shine, and so they're fantastic for this single track. I'm like, accelerating a little bit, then I'm off the gas, on the gas, off the gas, shifting, which drops the RPMs again. And they do fantastic in this type of environment. They don't do fantastic at a constant throttle to go down the road at 40 miles an hour. You can, but when you have them at a higher RPM, they do sort of sputter. I can't really show you right now because I don't have a place I can do like constant throttle, but there's a raspiness. Even though I think this bike, I've had a lot of two-strokes. I've been doing this for now a long time. This bike is running amazing, running like a screaming eagle. But there is and it's counterbalanced and it's smooth for a two-stroke. It's not smooth in the sense that a four-stroke is smooth. It's a different feeling. There's a different element to how the power comes on, how it stays on, all those things. And it makes it extremely adept at the type of riding that you see right here. Especially now with the way these modern 300 two-strokes work with lower RPMs, it just runs great. It's absolutely suited for this trail riding, also trail racing, desert racing, that kind of stuff. These motors are great for that, but what they're not great at is just going 40 miles an hour down the road at a constant throttle, constant speed, constant RPM. It's not as good at that. And you just might need to be aware that your bike's actually running exactly the way it is. Now, it's hard for me to just say that because look, just as much as I can't diagnose your carburetor issues or your EFI issues over email, I certainly can't diagnose your issues as you're listening to this or watching this without even having any information about what your bike's doing. It's possible there is a problem with the way your bike is running. I'm just saying, for a lot of these guys, and I'm like, hey, I wish I could ride your bike. And sometimes I have. Like, I've had people that are, man, I'm just like fighting this thing, and can I bring it to you? Can you ride it? And in certain cases, if it makes sense and they're local, I have done that. And I have been able to like tell them, hey, brother, sorry, man, your bike runs great. This is how two-strokes are. So just love it. She's ready to rock and roll. I think it's running great. I've been at this for a minute. Just go after it. You know, but sometimes, and so if you've got maybe you might have a friend that has ridden a lot of these two-strokes over the years, that you could have them ride the bike and see if they think it needs to be tuned. See if they think it needs or has a problem. Often cases, it won't need any tuning. It'll be running just like two-strokes are meant to run, and like they had it programmed over there in Austria to run. So anyway, just some deep thoughts by Kyle. It's some of the email that I get. Man, my nose is plugged up. It's a beautiful day out here. You'll notice I'm not pushing it crazy hard because A, you can't see very much around these corners, and B, this is a multi-use trail and it's a multi-direction trail. So you will come up on people hiking, mountain biking. You'll come upon dirt bikers coming the opposite direction. Yep, you guessed it. You just hope you see them in time. You hope it isn't on one of the super blind corners so that you don't have a collision. But yeah, so that's why I'm not like, meh, 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 you know, going through the gears. And just like really hitting it hard. Just being a good steward up here. Also, it's the middle of the week. I did see some hikers down towards the trailhead. The further you get away from the trailheads, the less people you see. So, but there's always dirt bikers, and there's people on Surons and whatever, and you're going to be coming up on them, and I don't want anybody to get hurt. Plus, there's a lot of freaking logs right off the side of the trail in this brush, in the, like, you know, the foliage here, and you can clip a peg, you can clip a knee, you can clip a handlebar. It's just better to be a little careful here. Don't ask me how I know. I've been coming up here for a hot minute now. Let's see, it's 2024, so I've been coming up on this particular trail a couple times a year, or at least once a year, for at least 12 years now. It's crazy. This is my first time on this particular section of trail this year. It's in July, early July. These trails don't even open up technically until the middle of June, and then I've got a handsaw with me, like a silky big boy, in case I come across something. Usually the guys have come through with chainsaws before now, but you never know. You always come across something, even especially after like a storm, windstorm, rainstorm, stuff like that. You come across deadfall that might need to be cleared out. We don't have nearly as much deadfall with trees here in Utah as some of the other places I've ridden, like Idaho. In Idaho, man, all summer long, it's like a lot of guys will not ride without a chainsaw mounted to their bars, or at least somebody in the group with a chainsaw, and they can get kind of frustrated at you if you don't have a chainsaw. I carry hand saws, and I can handle a lot of things. There are some things that are very difficult to handle or impossible. I shouldn't say impossible, but very difficult to handle with the handsaw. But then again, there are some of those things that are freaking, like, I have a handsaw that has a blade as long as most of the guys, a longer blade than what some of the chainsaw guys are running. I'm not saying, and I will spend time to cut out a 10-inch log or something like that. Once they get around 2 feet or whatever, I'll leave it to the chainsaw dudes, and thank you profusely for doing that. But here in Utah, I've been doing this a long time. Most of the time I don't see even logs down on the trail after the first part of the year when groups have gone through and cleaned them out. So yeah, I'd just be carrying a chainsaw on the front of my bike for no reason. So I'll carry a silky handsaw. My dad, we were up camping and used one of my smaller, it was the silky Gomboy. That's a handsaw. My dad saw how cool that was when we were getting some firewood, and then I think he went out and bought the silky Gomboy, which is the bigger one. Great for pruning, great for cutting out trees on trails. So anyway, that's my monologue for right now. And we need, oh my gosh, we need some rain. Need some rain here. This trail is just a dust bowl. There's a lot of dust. It's just powder. Moon powder.